I want to read a quote to you, Chris, here, and it has to do with John Paxson. John Paxson is the Bulls' president of basketball operations. Now, he said this yesterday in a quote. The important thing for us is if we're ever going to be in a position we're going to rebuild, there has to be certainty in what you're getting back. If you're going to go that route, you better have certainty you can get several young assets that are legitimate. Those kind of things don't exist now because we thought Jimmy Butler was going to be traded to the Celtics. He then goes on to say this. Right now, today, Jimmy is on our roster under contract for 2 more years, Paxson said. You guys know this league is fluid. What's John Paxson saying there?
I mean, isn't that the mother of all quotes? I mean, the right now, imagine saying that to your girlfriend. Like, right now, you're my girlfriend today. I mean, it's not exactly the strongest endorsement of Jimmy Butler's future. Chicago, you alluded to it, they want to see what that draft pick turns into. If it's the number 1 overall pick, they are absolutely going to get back engaged with Boston, and Boston will re-engage with them. But the Celtics at the same time, one thing that I was aware of yesterday and talking to teams that had at least taken the temperature of Boston is that they were valuing the 2017 Brooklyn pick as number 1. They were saying, expect this to be Markelle Fultz. Expect this to be a transcendent point guard that can shape your franchise. And other teams weren't exactly doing that. Now, if that turns out to be Markelle Fultz, the Celtics are going to turn around and say to Chicago, look, this is now officially this player. A lot of the other stuff is off the table. You're not going to be able to extract Jay Crowder. You're not going to be able to extract Jaylen Brown. We'll still put this pick up because, frankly, they don't have a lot of use for it, and Butler is a better player for them. But that will put Boston in a much better bargaining position. At the same time, if it winds up number 4, which we have seen in the past, and the Celtics haven't had great luck, it puts the Celtics in a tougher position as well. So there were a lot of calculated risks taken yesterday on Boston's behalf, on Indiana's behalf, and on Chicago's behalf.
And I know that the Lakers are interested in Paul George, and Paul George sounds like he's interested in the Lakers. And I agree with the Lakers. If you know you can get him, there's no need to get him now. If you know that you can get him in the off season, do you think that that's what's going to happen with these two teams?
Well, 2 things. The Lakers were never close on anything because nobody is going to make a deal with the Lakers until they know if they're keeping their draft pick. And that pick, as you know, if it's outside the top 3, it conveys to Philadelphia. So there's no deal with L.A. until after the lottery is complete. And look, it's dangerous for a team in a major market like L.A. to just think that a Paul George is going to want to go there. I mean, the NBA's changed so much. And yeah, I believe that George is interested in playing in L.A. But, if over the next year and a half, they've made no significant improvements and Magic Johnson looks like the same type of GM that Phil Jackson and Vlade Divac have become, he's not going to run there. I mean, he'll open up his list of possibilities to a number of different teams. So, I think the Lakers, they never really had a chance, but if they have a chance this summer, and if they can move an Ingram and a draft pick to go get him, it would behoove Magic Johnson, who, talking to GMs has been very aggressive in this last week. It would behoove Magic Johnson to try to do that.
If I look at the young talent that the Lakers have, Jim Buss lost his job. Mitch Kupchak lost his job. But if people value the young talent the Lakers have and they don't want to get rid of them, didn't Buss and Kupchak do a good job then?
They have done a very good job this year. They did not do a great job in the offseason when they went out and paid Luol Deng far more money than anyone was going to give him, when they overpaid for Timothy Mozgov. And in talking to some executives, they tell me that those contracts, they're really going to come back to bite the Lakers in the long term. I mean, they're going to be cap killers for this team over the next couple of years as they try to reshape their roster in free agency. But Ingram, an obvious choice at number 2. He looks like a player, and Randall and Russell are pretty good. So, they're there and they're okay there. The irony in some ways, Dan, is that, they hire Rob Pelinka as the general manager. And Rob Pelinka was the guy that negotiated that cap-destroying contract that Kobe Bryant signed a couple of years ago. I mean, can we just pause for a second and note the irony in that particular move? So the decision to fire, Jim and Mitch had little to do with what was happening, today as much as it did, the last couple of years.
I got the feeling that the rest of the league says it's going to be a rematch again between the Cavs and Golden State, and if we're going to regroup, let's try to do something for 2017 or 2018. Your thoughts on the rest of the league kind of putting their arms up, saying, "All right, we surrender."
Well, the Western Conference certainly is doing that. The Clippers, they might have had an opportunity to make an impactful deal if they're willing to dig even deeper into their draft reservoir, which is already pretty tapped at this point, but they didn't want to go there. I mean, Houston made some nice moves, and they're starting to position themselves as a team that can score with Golden State. And San Antonio, they're going to get into the Andrew Bogut sweepstakes if and when Bogut is bought out in these next couple of days. So, but you're right in the Western Conference sense. In the East, though, I mean, even though Boston didn't make a deal, Toronto is, they're a threat right now, Dan. I mean, Ibaka is a big upgrade for them. And P.J. Tucker comes in, and he all of a sudden can replace what they lost in Terrence Ross. So, I think the Raptors, who took the Cavs to 6 games last year, if Ibaka is motivated, and if Ibaka is the player we saw during his prime in Oklahoma City, which he can still be. I mean, he's 27 years old. He's just hitting the prime years of his career. If he's motivated to play like that, this is a team to watch in Toronto, no question.
Chris, safe travels. Always great to talk to you. Thank you.
You got it, Dan.
Chris Mannix from The Vertical on Yahoo. He and Woj did a great job yesterday keeping us up to date on the potential trades. But I would keep an eye on Jimmy Butler still ending up with the Celtics because of those cryptic messages that John Paxson had yesterday. Reading between the lines, feels like they had a deal in place, but the Bulls aren't sure who they're getting in return, and probably said, hey, neither of us, we can both wait here. We can both wait in the offseason, and it feels like that's what's going to happen.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.